The facts are people circumvented us, totally humiliated us, totally insulted us by not talking to us hereditary chiefs. And yet the laws, so-called rule of law, is not even handled correctly by the federal or the provincial government.
It is a crisis that has gripped the economy and captured the entire country's attention. But at the heart of these ongoing rail blockades is a pipeline and a divided First Nation in BC. Coastal GasLink is building a natural gas pipeline that runs 670 kilometers from the Dawson Creek area in northern BC to a facility in Kitimat. From there, gas will be exported to Asia. The approved route runs right through more than 22,000 square kilometers of Wet'suwet'en territory. And here's where it gets complicated. Even though 5 of the 6 Wet'suwet'en elected chiefs support the pipeline, a majority of the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs oppose it. So for more on the dispute within the territory, I'm joined by Bonnie George, a Wet'suwet'en woman who's a member of the Witsett First Nation and is a former Coastal GasLink employee. She joins me now from Smithers, British Columbia. Ms. George, thanks for taking the time.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I wonder if you can give me a sense of how this is playing out in the Wet'suwet'en community. In your opinion, do the hereditary chiefs opposed to this project represent a vocal minority, or do they represent the majority will of Wet'suwet'en people?
There's a small group of hereditary chiefs that do not support the projects. But looking at our structure, we have 5 clans, 13 houses, and each of those houses has a hereditary chief. So technically we have 13 chiefs. And I heard earlier someone mentioned that there's vacancies. Although there's vacancies of those seats, the membership and the wing chiefs and the sub chiefs collectively come to a decision together to fill that void. So that voice does not... that voice is heard as well, even though the chieftain vacancy is not filled until time as we fill it.
Right.
We go through a grieving process of 1 year before we fill it, and that's what we're in between that right now. But the membership and the wing chiefs take on that role, so there is a voice there.
Okay, so and do the wing chiefs and the sub chiefs, do they align with the rest of the head chiefs from the other hereditary houses, or are they more neutral, or where do they stand?
A lot of them support the projects because we have chiefs on our chief and council with the band structure as well. We've always had, and we probably always will. And they know their roles of each of those titles as a band chief. They know their role there, and they know their hereditary role because they were raised with those laws ever since childhood, because chiefs are groomed right from infancy, right from the day they were born. They knew they were going to be identified to the roles, because our system is a matrilineal system. It's not to grab a name and take and run with it for political reasons. Individuals are groomed for it. And if people follow the grooming process, which respect and integrity is instilled in their lives, and as my dad would always say, he was a hereditary chief as well too, and he taught us to weigh our words when we speak, and also be respectful and hold your integrity high. Learn the laws, because our elders were experts in conflict resolution. And if we practice the ways of our elders in the past, as he would say, be honest with the small things and the big things will take care of themselves. And if we were always told not to dirty our blanket, and what they mean by that is be careful what you speak, because the words that come out of your mouth is like a bow and arrow. Once you release it, you can't take it back, or you have lots of backpedaling to cover or to justify yourself. So words are very carefully thought about when you're speaking on behalf of your people. And I'm not doing this by myself. I talk to my chiefs and I talk to my elders, and they've been giving me their words, and they've also given me concerns, and they feel like they don't have a voice because of being ostracized and bullied, and lateral violence is really evident it's just taken over a whole nation, and a lot of them are really hurting terribly to see how our name. One elder told me 2 nights ago, she called me and left a message, and I called her back, and we discussed for a long time on the phone, and she's really hurt about what's going on. She feels like our name's nation, Wet'suwet'en, has been dragged through the mud throughout all of Canada because people are quick to jump on these protests and blocking the railway and the roads, and it's just not our way as Wet'suwet'en people.
So the divisions are there, though. You say this is not your way as Wet'suwet'en people, but obviously the divisions are there now. But you support this project. Why do you support the pipeline?
I support the pipeline is because I did my research and I learned about it. I was on band council prior, and when the issue came up, and I went on to find out more about it and find out the facts for myself instead of hearing other secondhand information, because this is such a very important and big issue. In order to find out all the true facts is to find out yourself, ask the questions, go to the experts and ask, because there's lots of misleading information out there, and our people are being misled. Because I heard in a meeting
misled by who? By the hereditary chiefs? Is that you're saying?
Quite a few years ago, and saying that the line that's going to be put in flick of a switch, it's going to be switched to oil. That's not true. There's a whole different process, policies, and it's all different. You can't. It's just like comparing apples to oranges. And what we're seeing, another elder told me as well, is what's happening out there and all the injunctions that need to be enforced. The RCMP, they're doing their job just like everybody else does. I commend and hold my hands up to the RCMP because they're trying to uphold the law, and there's a lot of criticism there as well too, and they're going by assumptions, what they see and what they hear. It's just like everybody else. We have a job to do every day, and we stick to those job descriptions and job titles. We choose those careers because we want to, not because, what's happening out there. And what one elder told me was they may think they're above colonial law, but they cannot be above our own Wet'suwet'en law, because we have laws that guide us and to keep our social structure strong. And if you breach those laws, you're accountable to your own people.
You say people have jobs to do. The Prime Minister has a job to do, and one of those is try to resolve this situation. I mean, what do you think of the way Justin Trudeau has approached this, and how would you like to see this situation be resolved?
How I would like to see the situation be resolved is let us deal with it. We're the experts of our own system. I heard bits and pieces. I try to stay out of the news because it's just so lopsided and so misled. There's misleading information out there, especially it breaks some of our elders and our wing chiefs' hearts to hear the hereditary chiefs. There's lots of other hereditary chiefs that haven't been consulted. One told me no one's ever came to me to ask me what my thoughts and what my advice was. People are just going ahead, and there's lots of misrepresentation for the clans and the houses. They feel that, and it breaks their heart to see that, and it's disheartening to see. Our elders are knowledge holders, and they need to go to those people to get direction and guidance. And if we practiced our laws and our tradition and our culture as we claim we do, you would not see what's happening in the news today. We would be working together as one nation, together in one room, discussing all of these issues. And when one party or one group or groups are not willing to meet at the table, this is where it all unravels, and why it unraveled to this day. We haven't been invited to any of these meetings. And another elder also told me was they're going to be meeting with the government and to speak on behalf of the Wet'suwet'en, invite all Wet'suwet'en people, all the membership, and to make sure that those houses and clans are equally represented, not by lopsided number.
Okay, Bonnie George, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.